Alright, so let me just say it up front. Joker, Year 1, isn't just a prequel. It's a rewrite, a challenge, a straight-up threat to everything we thought we knew about the origin of the Clown Prince of Crime. And as someone who's been riding this Gotham roller coaster since the new 52 days, I didn't expect to say this in 2025, but this Joker run might just be essential. I'm not talking about another cheesy retelling of how a failed comedian fell into a vat of chemicals. I'm talking about a comic that dares to say, what if none of that ever happened? What if Joker made that all up just to mess with us? Let's get into it. So DC dropped Joker Year 1 earlier this year, as part of Chip Zdarsky's run on Batman Volumes 3. And let me tell you, this arc isn't pulling any punches. It's deeply psychological, noir-heavy, and it's structured like a confession wrapped in an origin myth wrapped in a hallucination. We're not just watching Joker become Joker. We're watching Batman watch the Joker become Joker. And that layer of meta-awareness, it hits hard. Zdarsky leans all the way into the unreliable narrator trope, where Joker literally tells Bruce his side of the story, but in a way where we were never sure what real. Joker tells Bruce he was never some loser with a red nose and a bad set at a comedy club. He says he was always awake, always watching, and that his goal wasn't just chaos, it was transformation. What I loved, and what terrified me, is that this book honors Alan Moore's Killing Joke philosophy. If I am going to have a past, I prefer it to be multiple choice. And in Joker, Year 1, that's dialed up to 11. One issue shows him as a failed mob enforcer. Another paints him as a corrupt Arkham orderly who lost his mind in the system. One version even has him as a child who watched Gotham rot from the sewers upward, becoming the city's true mirror. Not Batman's opposite, but his evolution. Each version bleeds into the next. And Bruce? He's falling for it. Or maybe he isn't. Maybe we are. Here's where it gets juicy. There is no vat of chemicals. At least, not in the way we remember. In Joker, Year 1, the big twist is that Joker manufactured the Red Hood story. Not just for Gotham, not just for Batman, but for himself. It was an act of self-mythology. He decided to become a symbol of unpredictable horror, and that meant making his pain into a fairy tale. We still see the Ace chemicals fall, but it is unclear if it's a real memory, or one Joker planted in Batman's head via Scarecrow-style gas. Yep, Crane Tech makes a cameo. So what we are left with is terrifying. Joker isn't a product of Gotham's cruelty. He's the author of his own nightmare. He didn't fall, he jumped. And Bruce, he spirals. Like bad. Throughout Joker, Year 1, Bruce becomes increasingly unstable. Not in a physical way, but mentally. He starts second-guessing the foundation of his entire crusade. If Joker isn't the result of a crime gone wrong, if Joker isn't some broken man twisted by injustice, then Batman's whole war on crime is based on a lie. There is a moment, I kid you not, where Bruce looks in the mirror and sees Joker's grin. And he doesn't flinch. That's the kind of psychological warfare we're dealing with here. Now here's where I go full conspiracy theorist, because Joker, Year 1 might not be a standalone arc. There are hints, little breadcrumbs, that this story is one of many. Other titles like Justice Society of America and Green Lantern War Journal are teasing multiversal echoes. What if this Joker isn't our Joker, but a Joker from another Earth? One who never needed a fall because he was born in the dark. Because we co-prove in a moment, culturally and narratively, where origin stories aren't taught to it's just backstory. They're tools for power. Who gets to tell the story matters as much as what the story is. And Joker, in Year 1, weaponizes his own myth. He crafts an origin not to explain himself, but to infect others. He's not looking for sympathy. He's aiming for domination over narrative, memory, and truth itself. That's the scariest version of Joker I've ever seen. Not the Chaos Clown. Not the prankster prince. But the one who knows that a lie repeated often enough becomes gospel. Especially when whispered into Batman's ear. Look, I've read all the big Joker arcs: Death of the Family, Endgame, Joker War, even the controversial 3 Jokers. But Joker. Year 1 feels different. Not because it's the most violent, not because it's the most stylish, but because it asks the hardest question. What if Joker is what Gotham wants? In a world that thrives on content, spectacle, and shock value, maybe Joker is just Gotham's most viral idea. And if that's true, then maybe Batman's not the cure. He's just the next headline. So yeah, Joker. Year 1 changed the game. And I'll be watching every issue, every panel, every smile. Because if Gotham's laughing again, you better believe we're all part of the joke.